All right, so the next section is the bottom frame assembly. So we'll go into the instructions here and go to the build section and select bottom frame part 1. And that'll open this up, and then we start and we get started here, and it lists all our stuff.
Okay, so we're going to start the, I've got all the parts that it calls out for the bottom assembly. So we basically have some braces here. We've got the, we have the corners for the bottom. There's 4 of those. And then we've got, these are the, obviously the profiles. And when you go into the first instruction, it basically says, prepare all squared profiles with lengths of 625. Now what's nice is they package each one of these profiles and it has the, obviously the millimeter of the length of the profile and tape on each profile. So it basically says prepare for all the 625s, 360, and 198. So it says to use the M58 button head screws. So you can see, once again, they label all the screws. And it goes ahead and just screw it in on the end. And obviously it says don't screw in completely. So have a clearance about 2 to 3 from the end. So we're gonna go ahead and prep all that. I think some of these 360, 625, it says there should be 16 profiles. I'm counting more than 16, but let's just see where this takes us, and then I'll just screw on all the screw heads into the ends here, and we'll see, we'll come back and go from there. I've got these laid out here, different sizes that we talked about. And what I found out is that's why you got to go through these instructions before you start anything. Laid out all these parts, and then if you go to the next page in the instructions, then it says, hey, start putting the button head screws at the end of these profiles, the ones used in this operation. So I started to do that, but then when I got to the next step, it shows you then that there's 3 profiles, and if I zoom in here, you'll see that B1B, B3, they're all 625. The difference is as you look on the screen here, you'll see the top one has no holes, but there's pockets. So to show you here, there's a pocket here and on top. And what it tells you to do is to actually zoom in and rotate to make sure you recognize you have the right profile. So for this on 2, you can see there's 3 pockets on the bottom. And if you go to the next page, actually, it gives you a little more detail. For this one, it says this hole is 199.5 from the left of the profile. So you have to find the piece that has that hole. And this particular one, as you rotate around, you'll see that it has the 3 pockets in the bottom. And then around the side is then the countersunk hole that it tells you to orient up. And so what I did was I ended up labeling each one of these B1B as they're notated, B3, because I had to go through each one of these stacks of the 625 and locate the right one. It actually took a little bit of time, and I wanted to make sure I got it right because I hate double doing things. And so once I got those, then I inserted, then like I did on these, you insert, leave a little gap with a buttonhole there. And then what happens is you slide, then you find these, and these are the corner pieces. So you can see the rounded profile here. And you take that and you're able to slide that into the groove. And then you come down here on the end and you can see then you take your little socket wrench through that hole and tighten those up. And so it puts them in the right position. And so this is the first frame part. So I just want to...
I can't emphasize enough to make sure you pay very close attention to where this hole is that it mentions on these 2 profiles. It says 199.5, this hole. Well, the other hole is frankly less than 3 millimeters on the other side. So you could potentially mess this up. So pay very close attention to your measurement. And if you do mess this up, then you're going to find that when you install the rails that hold the bottom moving plate, the ball joint that moves the bottom plane of the print chamber or powder chamber. They're going to be misaligned, and then you're going to have to take all this apart when you find this out. So get it done right, check it. And now I'm working on these bottom smaller pieces. That's what these are. So once I found these actually have holes in them, and it tells you how to orient the countersink out. And what these will do, these will slide in this way. So that'll be my next step. But this is just gotta take your time, gotta make sure you have the right part. They're not individually labeled. Maybe could be an improvement down in the future as far as labeling each part on whether they're the B1B or B3B or whatever, you know, part we're looking for. But for now, this is what you got. You just got to be careful. All right, so at this point, I'm basically identifying the pockets and where they're located before you put them on, and then sliding them down on, and just double check top, bottom, sides in the pictures as you go along. You're just going to find this important because down the road later when you're adding these panels and you add these square nuts and these things, you need these pockets. So just always be alert and aware. I'm not going to show you my assembly of this. The instructions here show you, but I just want to emphasize you're looking at the pockets on the side of these and rotating around and make sure that you see where everything's located at and you don't make any mistakes. And then as you get them on, then just put in the screws there, put your hex key through those holes, and then tighten them up, and they go in the right location once you tighten them. Now it says not firmly because you're going to need this loose when you insert the powder and print chambers down into this bottom assembly. So don't tighten everything up, otherwise you're gonna have to undo them anyway later steps. But just check those pockets, folks, and make sure you got them in the right location. So then the next step, it says I had to put some square nuts in the channels and put the back cover. So I've got the back cover here. And the thing that you have to do is you need to make sure when you put the square nuts in that they're aligned with the holes that they're going. So there's 5. There's 4 here, 1 down here that said to put them in. So that's what we're planning to do. And the next step here is, it says to use the M510 button. And let's see how easy this goes. So I'm not going to tighten it down. It told me not to. So I'm going to read the next set of instructions and we'll go from there. One, you use these little slots to get the square nuts in, and put them approximately where they're going to go. Obviously. All right, and it looks like I've got 3 down here as well. So this is basically the process for installing the HPL panels. So this is the side. This will be up. So yeah, so it'll go right in here like this. So like I said, the main thing is to align here. So take your time. Once again, you hear the theme. All right, and then the last step was adding the right cover, which is same as the left cover. And just, you want to make sure though all the edges are snugged up tight against the other covers, and because these all align and square up with each other. So just take your time once again and get everything snugged up right, and you should be good.
Okay, so I got the two pieces laid out here. I think there's a mistake in the instructions because this is good. The panel's going to lay on top of here. In order to do that, this piece says it needs to be 199.5 from the side. This is the hole here. And if I did that, then it'd be, according to the instruction, it'd be on this side. But if I did that, this channel, this pocket here to insert these things would not be here. So and when I look compared to the other side, because it should match up, I think I got this correct. So I'm going to see what happens here. So this is so you can see the square nuts here. Put those down in they fit down in the channel, and I just use a little screw to move it now, like we did on the other one. So it says to place the front cover then on this. And it's upside down, and so we'll get these aligned here. Put the holes here. Okay, good. So that's that. I'll go to the next step here. Okay, so we got the main frame back up here. We flipped the front over like it said, and now it says take the corners here, and you can see here, just slide along into those channels, and there you go. Everything aligns right there, and then we'll do the same thing to the other one. Slid right in there.
So I wanted to stop here and insert in here because it's really important. It didn't say it on the initial instructions. I forgot to tell Thomas about this, but this is very important at this spot right here. This hole is the same distance, that 199.5, as you did on one of the previous steps, because that's important, because that's what's going to align with, once again, those linear rails that your moving plates are on, and they need to make sure that those align. I actually ended up accidentally putting mine in reverse, and so when I got ready to install that rail, I had to go back and put that in. So slide it out. Fortunately, I was able to slide those bottom ones out without having to take anything else apart. So that was the only good news about that. So just pay attention and make sure that aligns with the other holes above it.
Okay, so I found the right profiles here. They have a slot in the top and bottom. There's two of them, and they take the M520 socket cap screws. So now it's got me putting 2, 4, 6, 8 square nuts in here, and then I'm sure that there'll be some sort of panel, bottom panel there that attaches there. So, all right, so we put the 8T, the square nuts in here, and then it says these are the reinforcements, the axis reinforcements. You know, like to keep things, make sure they're squared up. So we'll do that and we'll come back. Okay, I've got the reinforcements strips on then. So I just did 5 inches between the edge of the leg here, edge of the leg to the edge of this on both sides. So that should be, I don't think that's really that important, but that's just what I did. And then, so it says, great, you're done. Next, bottom frame part 2. So we've got part 1 done. This took about 2.5 hours. And once again, you know, just taking your time, making sure you find the right parts. Finding parts, I think, is probably takes a lot of the time. It hasn't told me to tighten everything up yet. So I'm not sure when I do that, but if I have to start putting things inside of this, I'll probably do so here. But I'll set this aside and see what, well, actually, maybe I ought to go, maybe it does say in the bottom frame part 2, maybe it does tell me when to tighten everything up. It is a part 2.